Candace Owens just dropped some bombshell evidence about Charlie Kirk's assassination, but what she didn't say is even more explosive. And once you see it, you'll understand why they're trying to bury this story. Now, I'm going to jump right into this by showing you how she dissected the Turning Point USA Chief of Staff, Mikey McCoy's reaction right after the shooting.
Was behind the tent when Charlie got shot, and Mikey, in less than a second, does something that I find to be quite strange. He puts his phone to his ear and he begins a conversation. So we're going to watch that clip in its entirety. Mark is going to bring it in. Mikey didn't have time to dial. Okay, you can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds. The next time that you're going to see Mikey McCoy, as we just showed you, is in just under 2.5 seconds on the other side of the tent.
If you're just tuning in, you might be wondering, why is Candace talking about this guy who ran off right after the shooting? Well, that guy is the son of TPUSA co-chair Pastor Rob McCoy. And things get weird when you hear what his father has said about his actions after the shooting.
I'm looking at my son who's 24 years old. Justin's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and Mikey's the Chief of Staff. And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray." I said, "Okay, son." He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him, and
you could play devil's advocate and say maybe he was just calling his dad when the shots rang out. In fact, that's close to what people at Turning Point USA have said about his strange behavior.
The shooting occurs. I am next to Mikey. Both of us hear a loud crack. We both turn. We both see Charlie, who has been shot. Both of us, I think at about the same time, realize that means there is a shooter who is on the scene. And, you just hear the crack, so you don't know, did it come from far away? Did it come from close? Is there a mass shooter unfolding right now? So I and him both had the reaction of, let's get out of here before we are both shot. That is not us abandoning Charlie. Charlie had a security team. They all leapt immediately into action, and they got Charlie out of there, which was what their job was to do. My job was not to get in the way and screw this up.
I mean, sure, they left because they didn't want to get shot, but look closely at the clip. He's not running like everyone else. While people are panicking and trying to find cover, he's just walking and calmly talking on the phone, like none of it even fazed him. I'm glad Candace is finally exposing the strange events that went down right after the shooting. But what no one seems to be talking about is even more suspicious. Why were members of the security team caught removing objects from the scene and handing them off to others in the middle of pure chaos? So yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff going on under that tent, but it gets way worse when you hear what Candace uncovered about the guy who removed those SD cards.
The camera guy, the one who takes down the camera. And you know what, when I called him, things got pretty weird. He acknowledged that a lot of new stuff was happening on that day. And I of course asked him why he took down the cameras so quickly. I asked him to first and foremost simply show me the footage. He specifically told me that, as I said earlier, that he had secured that footage because he wanted to prevent Erica, as I told you, from having to relive that moment. He said, I don't want to just send the footage over the internet that's behind Charlie's head because I'm worried that Google might hack me. If you have worked with Charlie for this long, over a decade, and you watch Charlie Kirk get shot, but this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
Now, first off, it's almost too perfect how he's right there at the exact spot recording as people rush Charlie into the SUV. And like I've said before, that kind of timing does not just happen by accident. But here's what really gets me. He sounds way too sure that Charlie isn't going to make it. He also said they shot Charlie, not Charlie got shot. Remember, this was right after the shooting. He hadn't seen the HD clip. He didn't know the extent of Charlie's injuries, and yet he's already convinced that Charlie Kirk is dead. That's not just strange, that's a huge red flag, and it makes you wonder what else he knew that the rest of us didn't. Also, since we're talking about removing evidence, let me show you what Charlie's mentor, the president of Cross-Examined, Frank Turek, has said about the FBI stopping people from touching the evidence.
And then they roped off the vehicle that we took out of there as a crime scene. I don't know why. It wasn't part of the crime scene, really. So we couldn't get into the vehicle until the FBI cleared it.
So you're telling us the FBI did not allow any of Charlie's inner circle to even go near the SUV, but they just asked a random member of Turning Point USA to remove the SD cards from the crime scene? Tell me how that makes any sense, unless someone wanted to make sure certain footage never saw the light of day. Now, Frank's strange comments don't stop there. He also claims the FBI is terrible at collecting evidence.
Charlie, in the back seat below him, between these two bucket seats, was my computer bag. So when they finally cleared it, I got into the car and I pulled out my bag, and draped over my bag was Charlie's necklace that had a cross and medallions on it.
Makes you wonder, if they ignored something that obvious, what else did they forget to collect? I'm starting to see why the FBI did not want local police talking to witnesses or anyone connected to the case.
Just 10-14, I'm still about 15 out, but the 1G unit that's going to be up there to interview, as per FBI and FBI, we've been given clear direction not to interview. Confirming negative interview until they get there.
140, we were not going to interview. We are just arriving now.
Copy that.
Building 151. This was relayed by Salt Lake. They're advising a complainant called 911, and he was stating there's an APB out on him for the shooting at UVU. He's now pinging at the Urban Pioneer Cafe at SMBB break.
I was just told that the FBI wants you to stand by there with him, and they're on their way to you. Thank you. And that came from the agent
that's leaving Provo PD right now.
It's almost as if they wanted to control the entire narrative, deciding which evidence gets recorded and which stories get erased before anyone can ask questions. And speaking of asking questions, let me also show you what Frank Turek has said about Candace Owens.
It sucks too, because you listen to people like Candace Owens, like right now with her conspiracy theories and stuff, and like, I don't know, man, I'm getting more and more thinking the best thing that could happen to humanity is the internet could go down.
Yeah, as soon as we lose Wi-Fi, we're all upset, but that might be the best thing that happens to us. By the way, I haven't followed a lot of what Candace Owens has done, but I will say what I have seen, there's a difference between a possibility and evidence for a possibility. You can speculate on anything you want, but unless you have evidence, shut up. Okay, because all you're doing is causing dissension among the brothers.
Look, you can disagree with someone. That's your right. But when you try to shut down anyone who questions the official story, that's when you know something deeper is going on. Charlie Kirk understood that better than anyone. For years, he stood for open debate and for the freedom to ask hard questions.
What is so important about freedom of speech is that, as a utility, is that you're able to find the best ideas and find really bad ideas. And how do you do that? More speech. The solution is not to label them as a hate group and to say, the answer is more speech. As soon as you begin to silence, all of a sudden you're getting into the business of trying to tell people exactly what they're supposed to believe and how they're supposed to believe it.
And the chilling part, he died doing exactly that, arguing with people who couldn't stand to hear him speak. And now his friends want to shut down someone who is doing exactly what Charlie used to do. And as for why Candace is doing this, well, here's her reason.
Charlie Kirk did in fact know that turning point was going to be the death of him, and I have proof of that. He also knew that I was the only person who was going to step up to defend him after he was gone. That sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
She also shared the texts Charlie had sent her, where he clearly said he knew he wasn't going to live much longer.
Here's what he wrote. We were again talking about Kanye. Charlie wrote to me, "You're going to be the Iron Lady of America." He had such a political vision for me. I never wanted that sort of a thing. I see it so freaking clearly. I might be Moses, though. I might not see this whole thing through. LMAO. If that is the case, be my David. I said, dude, you haven't even realized your power yet. You're so young, was what I was thinking. He said, if I tell you the true prophecy that I know in my gut, it's really sad, but I hope it's wrong. He went on to say, anyway, I am not sure if I will live to see the end of this revolution. I believe you were the piece that God meant me to meet that will finish the fight. Since the beginning of TPUSA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all the time, like all the time. Anyway, that's depressing combo for another time, LMAO. I said, that's weird, more of a fear manifestation than an actualization. He said, I'm not really afraid of it, but I'm just telling you what I know to be true.
Now, this conversation reveals two things. It's clear that Charlie Kirk knew there were people who wouldn't let him continue this movement for long. This once again shows the pressure he was feeling, and on top of that, he also had to deal with angry donors.
So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, ugh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit.
His text conversation with Candace also explains why she looks so broken every time she speaks about it. I mean, if your closest friend was executed in front of the entire world after warning you something like this would happen, you'd move heaven and earth to find out who really ended his life. And maybe that's exactly why Candace had this message for anyone trying to shut her down.
So allow me to be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you, okay? All of you. And there's a reason. I'm going to get to that reason in a little bit, but I want war with all of you. So write your articles, issue your statements, email the White House, reach out for comment, okay? Say whatever it is you want to say about me. I want war with all of you. Because I know this isn't right. And there is no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first.
Now, while all of this is happening, the judge just made a major ruling in Tyler Robinson's trial. From now on, Tyler will be allowed to wear civilian clothes inside the courtroom.
Accordingly, the defendant's request to appear in civilian clothing for all pretrial proceedings is granted. Defense counsel is directed to coordinate with the jail to ensure that this order is implemented.
And that's not all. Judge Graff also ruled that the media cannot photograph Robinson as he enters or leaves the courtroom, and no images of him in restraints are allowed to be released.
The media will be prohibited from photographing or visually recording Mr. Robinson's restraints and from photographing or recording him while entering, exiting, or standing in the courtroom.
He still hasn't made a final call on whether to ban cameras from the courtroom entirely, but judging by how he's agreed with nearly every request from Tyler's defense team, it feels like a camera ban isn't far away either. And if that happens, we may never find out what the FBI uncovered that day or what they decided the world should never see. Also, Judge Graff pushed the hearing back from this week until January. This situation gets stranger by the minute, and I'm going to make sure to bring you all of the truth every time it's available and make sure you're not being spoon-fed what the mainstream media wants you to see. Now, I really want to discuss with you the most important topic I've ever covered on my channel, and I don't say that lightly. It is at the heart and at the core of reshaping of our entire way of life, and it all has to do with the 2020 March and April global shutdowns and how these, along with another milestone event from earlier this year, are creating an opportunity that is bigger than the entire GDP of the planet. In 2020, President Trump realized that globalization has made American national security totally exposed and vulnerable to China's manufacturing dominance. For the first time, it dawned on Trump's administration and on many high-level political and military thinkers that the U.S. isn't ready for the 21st century because of deindustrialization. The seeds of tariffs and of bringing manufacturing back are sown, but the DeepSeek moment of 2025 made Trump's cabinet realize it's not just manufacturing and minerals, but also technology superiority itself. The US and China are fighting over matters of national security at the highest level imaginable. It is creating a catalyst for trillions of dollars in opportunity. On October 4th, 1957 at 7:28 p.m. Eastern Time, US Army Signal Corps in New Jersey heard noises that confirmed the Soviets launched a satellite to orbit. We know that as a Sputnik moment, and it fueled a race to space. Today, we have an AI race, and it is about to generate a wealth opportunity that Morgan Stanley predicts is larger than the world's entire GDP. The AI race begins in compute and quantum computing, collecting the world's data and turning it into insight. But that game is largely going to be over in a few years, while the major AI opportunity of the next 3 decades will be in turning knowledge and insight into vision, language, and action. In other words, to humanoid robots. Today's sponsor of this video is Global Humanoid Holdings, US ticker symbol RBOHF, and it is currently one of the first and few pure-play companies in the humanoid sector. Shares of RBOHF are available with Interactive Brokers, Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade, and as you can see on the screen, hundreds, if not thousands of companies are racing towards participating in the humanoid robot sector, and I'll show you why shortly. It has to do with the enormous TAM, total addressable market. But the way to position in it early is not easy. Most startups are private, and only accredited investors can gain access, while other companies are not pure plays, and the ETFs charge fees. Global Humanoid Holdings is, at its essence, a publicly traded venture capital firm which invests in these startups and gives access to investors through that. Embodied AI, as it's called, is a matter of national security. It is about collecting and processing the data and insights from the real world in order to perfect the way things are done. Maximum efficiency with minimum time and energy spent. The TAM is enormous, and if Global Humanoid Holdings can position its strategic investments in the most promising startups, the upside potential as a first mover is significant. Elon Musk recently shared that the CCP manufactures more drones in a single day than the US in a single year, which is why the Trump administration is opening up all doors of the White House to the tech sector and encourages them to share with the government what is needed to win. Think of the TAM and what getting positioned in this sector could mean. Just the global workforce contains 4 billion people earning $10,000 a year on average, which means robots can disrupt a $40 trillion industry. We're talking everything from the brains of the robot, the screws, batteries, cameras, semiconductors, magnets, minerals, sensors. The list is long. Every part of the economy is about to be disrupted, and anything that can be automated will be. With Global Humanoid Holdings, ticker RBOHF, being one of the first and only publicly traded venture capital holding companies that are pure plays in humanoid robots. And with Meta, Apple, Tesla, Google, and others, including all of the largest corporations in the world and the 2 biggest nations, China and the USA, making this a paramount national security priority, this is the best sector and time to research humanoids, in my opinion.